Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sandy Frank's political podcast for a people's revolution against the corporate fascist state. I am your host, Sandy Frank. Today we're going to be talking about a lot of things. We're mainly going to be talking about the global shit show going down between the power interests of we see two different huge factions of power interests going at each other in the form of corporate media versus Donald Trump and his corporate media. I just want to apologize for being away for a few days. I haven't put out a video in a few days. I was on vacation for President's Day weekend, and I was pretty caught up in the beginning of the week with work. So I just want to apologize, and I try to put out at least one episode, hour-long episode every day. I try to do it, and that's what I'm gonna try to keep doing in the future. But apologize for the absence. Went skiing up in New Hampshire, and it was very nice. But now we're back, and we just see what's going on in the world now, and I feel very downhearted and very disheartened and very low, seeing what the power interests and the warring corporate fascist state, when I see what they're doing to our lives, using our media to just try to destroy each other. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about what's going on as of today. We're talking about Donald Trump barring certain corporate media propaganda outlets from a private press conference. So we have CNN and the New York Times and a few other sources being not allowed into the press conference, which is it's, if you look at it out of context, it looks very frightening. But when we're looking at it in context, we see what's really going on. We see the different power interests warring with each other to some of trying to keep their power. The Donald Trump crew is trying to acquire a whole bunch of power, and we see the shit show going down. I'm no fan of Donald Trump, but I'm also no fan of CNN. I'm not crying any crocodile tears over here about CNN having their bullshit shut down and the New York Times having their bullshit shut down. But it's just an astounding display what these people on both sides of it are really doing. It's just ridiculous that we as a citizenry, we as a people, are allowing this to go on with our press that is supposed to be working to expose these kinds of people. The press is meant to be putting these people in jail, these CNN people in jail, and these Donald Trump people in jail. This is what the press is meant to do. It's meant to speak truth to power, to point to the corruption, and now we have the complete corruption of the press. We look at the Washington Post, and we see John Podesta, the disgusting person, now at the at one of the head positions of the Washington Post, and we know that the CIA and the Washington Post were in bed with each other and are in bed with each other to the tune of being paid off $600 million. And this is small potatoes to the level of corruption that is going on amongst these people. This should be no surprise to us that the Washington Post is nothing but a propaganda outlet putting out all the bullshit and the lies about Russia, all the bullshit and the lies that we've been subjected to since the campaign, and because they have $600 million to throw around and hundreds of millions and billions of dollars just to throw around to get what they want, these bratty children, we're all subjected to it. So the Washington Post and the rest of the CNN bullshit media has been lying about Russia, and I'm not saying there's no conflicts of interest between Donald Trump and the Russian government and Russian oligarchs. Believe me, there is. I'm not trying to. But the point is that there's no concrete evidence that anything they're claiming that went down with Trump or his administration, actually happened. Of course, there's phone calls, and of course some people are lying, but that's of course to be expected. Some people in the Trump administration lying is not evidence that Russia hacked our voting system like we know the DNC did against Bernie Sanders and against Donald Trump. So we have the completely bullshit Russia narrative that the Russian government made Hillary Clinton the worst candidate ever. This is an insult to everyone's intelligence, but people just eat it up. But back to John Podesta, obviously a disgusting person who's one of the most powerful people in our government, and he's now at one of the top propaganda outlets for the anti-Donald Trump narrative. And on the other side of the Donald Trump, on the other side of the shit show showdown, we have Donald Trump. Oh my goodness, really doing his best to make sure that somehow CNN and the corporate fascists over there win this fight with his transgender, his transphobia, and his Islamophobia, and we'll get into all of this later in the program. Go more into what Donald Trump is, his disgusting evil is really what it is, trying to just make the world a horrible place for anyone who's not a rich white male billionaire. I hate Donald Trump. I really hate him, and I hate his policies, and I hate his administration. I hate what he's doing, and it makes my blood boil to see how it's going on and on. But the important part is to realize that we are never going to defeat Donald Trump unless we defeat the Democratic establishment and the bullshit CNN Democratic establishment-owned propaganda media. And H.A. Goodman, a great journalist, just put out an article basically saying just that, about how, he as a progressive, hates what Donald Trump is doing. And it's not just progressives who hate what Donald Trump is doing. He's, if you're a person who's not a billionaire or on your way to becoming a billionaire, there's nothing for you in what Donald Trump is doing, and you know it. All right? You didn't just live through 8 years of Barack Obama doing the same, basically the same economic things that Donald Trump is doing, even though Donald Trump can do more because that's the group he was elected by to do. But, we see Donald Trump doing what Barack Obama wishes he only could do for his oligarch masters. But that's just the point. And H.A. Goodman has the article about how we need to take down the Democratic establishment if we're ever going to stop Donald Trump and his policies, and if we're ever going to have a people's revolution to stop this nonsense, to stop this blatant. I can't even think of words for the transgender policies and the Muslim bans, and I'm not going to put up with it anymore. And that's why we need to organize. But we first need to do it by taking down the Democratic establishment. But what we're seeing of these two factions fighting each other is, a good reason why we want to keep Donald Trump where he is until we can actually have this revolution, because we see these two factions fucking battling each other, fucking tearing each other apart. CNN and the Democratic establishment versus the Donald Trump, and when we say Democratic establishment, we mean for a good part the Republican establishment as well. We're talking about the establishment Congress, basically. The establishment Congress versus the establishment executive is really what we're seeing. And we're seeing these two branches of government tearing each other apart. And, I guess it kind of speaks to, I don't know what it speaks to, but it comes in handy when we have a multi-branched dictatorship, which is what the Founding Fathers basically set up. They lied and said they were setting up the Democratic Republic, but they really just set up a dictatorship with different branches. But we see how this form of government prevents, or can prevent, because under Barack Obama it was a complete dictatorship. But now we see how these branches of power can fight each other and weaken each other and take each other out in certain respects. So we see the establishment Congress versus the establishment executive. So we see every day out of the Democratic establishment media, a constant anti-Donald Trump media, constant, that it's fucking Donald Trump. So, of course, a lot of what you could say is actual criticism, but, you mix that in with the Russia bullshit lie narrative, and, you get nothing by way of political action, because the quote-unquote progressive media is designed completely to concentrate on bullshit issues like lies about Russia and sensationalizing, a phone call from the Trump establishment or a lie from the Trump establishment. And, you just create that type of Red Scare sensationalist media in order to distract people from the fact that the press is doing nothing but preserving power and not talking at all about economics or the rights of the people, the economic rights of the people. And you see this even with bullshit Bernie Sanders, this asshole who's doing nothing but serving the Democratic Party, who's doing nothing but, selling out. He's a complete sellout, Bernie Sanders. He's a disgrace. If I actually thought that, once this was all over, Bernie would be out leading our people's revolution. I really thought so, but he's not. He's serving power, and he's telling lies about Russia, nonsense. The same thing as the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. if you're believing any of this Russia bullshit, you deserve exactly what you're gonna get if we keep going down this road, which is global annihilation from a conflict with superpowers such as Russia and China. And don't get me wrong, I think Donald Trump is going down this road as well. I think the stage is set for a war with either Russia or China, and all they need is the narrative to start it. All they need is the bullshit narrative to start a war, and they'll do it, and they want to do it, and they're gonna do it if we don't stop them. So, we see the Democratic establishment doing nothing but lying constantly and deflecting, and now they've brought in Jill Stein to lie about Russia, or they're lying about Jill Stein's connection to Russia because she was in a picture with Vladimir Putin, and this is their evidence. They have zero evidence with Donald Trump. No actual evidence, just spooks within the deep state. Trying to start some sort of global conflict, and then we have Jill Stein being smeared by the likes of Rachel Maddow, this crazy person, because she was in a picture with Vladimir Putin, and that's all they need in this post-truth era. If you're still, if you've ever been watching Rachel Maddow or MSNBC, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, how small is your brain that you don't see what this is? And it's nothing but the preservation of power and the it's complete bullshit media. But we have crazy person Rachel Maddow, who loves money, who loves making $8 million a year, and who loves defending her disgusting John Podesta friends who own our media, who've bought it. They spread lies about Jill Stein because the faction of people on the left are not buying any of their bullshit. So the Rachel Maddows and the corporate media people understand that trying to trick Green Party people and Jill Stein supporters and actual leftists back into the corporate establishment is not going to happen. They know good and well, and they see through our media organization of actual progressives and independents and libertarians and anarchists and everything. They see that we're not coming back and that we're never going to be coming back. So they understand that their only course of action is to smear us, is to smear the Jill Steins, and to try to get as little people as possible to leave the corporate media to go over to our side. So all they're going to do is call us, agents of the Kremlin and agents of Putin. So that's why they're doing it. So we see the complete hemorrhage of support for the Democratic establishment. And that's, we see the Democrats' strategy with Chuck Schumer's bullshit of, they're not even going for progressives anymore. They're going for white, suburban Republicans who like identity politics and this bullshit. So, and it's not working, and they know it's not working, and they know they're hemorrhaging support faster than anything. They were the minority, but they become more and more of the minority as the days go by, because no one on the right, even people on the right who support the Republican establishment. Them too. They hate CNN. They hate MSNBC. They hate the New York Times. You know, it's you know, they hate the quote unquote left. So, you know, they're never going to get any traction trying to court Republicans and conservatives, because establishment Republicans and conservatives have been so brainwashed into hating the quote-unquote left. So, you know, we see the swan song of the fake progressive corporate media and the fake progressive government, you know, quickly dying of all support. And they're never going to get this support back. And, you know, they're never going to win another election, if I have anything to say about it. But we're talking about killing the Democratic establishment in order to have some sort of actual combat to Trump and his fascism. And that would be, you know, we see the DNC this weekend is going to elect a new chair, and in my opinion, we very, very much want Tom Perez, the more establishment candidate, to win. You know, we want the Debbie Wasserman Schultz character Tom Perez to win over the, you know, just as terrible Keith Ellison, Bernie Sanders' little puppet, George Soros' little puppet. You know, Keith Ellison is a danger because he will keep so many of the Bernie faction of the Democratic Party in the Democratic Party, and that's not what we want. We want a complete exodus from the party. Keith Ellison is such a snake because he supports the same bullshit as Tom Perez, but his bullshit is better. His Bernie Sanders pretty language bullshit is better. So we want Sam Ronan. No, we don't want Sam Ronan to win. That would be even more horrible, because that would just be more and more pretty language with, you know, the same bullshit. So we want Tom Perez to win. You know, since November, I'm not sure the percentage of people who have left the Democratic Party. I believe it was about 25% since the election of Donald Trump. You know, we want to get those numbers up. We want to completely take apart the Democratic establishment and the corporate Democratic establishment media, so we can create our own people's media to create our own people's revolution. You know, we talk about the dangers of Sam Ronan and Keith Ellison. You know, people who are, and of course Keith Ellison or Sam Ronan are very different, but you know, their bullshit is the same, which is to preserve a minority party when we, as the people, have a majority support. You know, trying to keep in a partisan hack setup of government is the worst thing we could be doing right now. We need to organize our independent people's movement of the 47% and growing. So Tom Perez will lead to a complete fallout of the Democratic Party, and let's hope that's what happens. But you know, what will happen if Keith Ellison wins? You know, we will have the same pay-to-play policies with the happy, smiley, anti-Donald Trump language of Bernie Sanders and Keith Ellison, who are snakes, who sold out the revolution who sold out, our people's values. And then we have Sam Ronan, who's doing nothing but, trying to sheepdog the Keith Ellison and Bernie Sanders movement more left, inside a counter-revolutionary party, And if Keith Ellison wins, that's exactly what will happen. There'll be some fake psyop narrative of Keith Ellison and the Sam Ronan people pretending like they're actually arguing for something, while no change gets done, and the years and years of our lives go by, and then 4 years will go by, and then maybe they'll run Bernie Sanders, maybe. And I would never vote for him, but, that's what the Democrats are planning to do. They're planning to run out 4 years doing the same thing, trying to prevent change, and then when the time comes to, run candidates in 2020, and it's the same fucking party, and they got wiped out in 2018 as well, it's just a big game, and it's not any type of actual political action. So that's why we need to pray. We need to hope that Tom Perez wins this weekend and the Democratic Party completely goes into the annals of history as a completely failed idea. Think of the illogical, the ridiculousness of the Democratic Party. It's a party that claims to be for the people, and relies on the support of the working people, yet wants to be like the Republican Party and take donations and take money from corporations. It's a paradox. The Democratic Party can't exist. It doesn't make sense. It does not add up. It cannot sustain itself. Something that claims to be two contradictory things, it just can't survive. It just can't. So we pray and we pray and we pray that Tom Perez is the victor, because what Donald Trump is doing is complete mayhem. Donald Trump is, and I'm not talking about the press. I don't give a shit that CNN got kicked out or the New York Times got kicked out. Obviously it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing it's happening, but we want to be smart and we want to play the two different factions against each other, and we want these huge, powerful factions to hurt each other as much as they can, because Lord knows they're trying to hurt us. We want these two factions hurting each other before they can unite and try to crush us, which is part of what they're doing, really. It's all some big narrative bullshit game of pretending that there's some big narrative contention between the left and the right, when the establishment left and right are basically the same thing, at least in the Congress. But where the actual fight is evident, and we see it, and we've just talked about it, is in the Congress and the executive. These are the opposing forces that are hitting each other. Because we have Donald Trump, who made a lot of promises in his campaign to put a lot of people in jail, and he riled up the base to expect major arrests in the Democratic establishment, and that includes, it includes a lot of things, as well as human trafficking and pedophilia from the likes of John Podesta, which we know, is a factual that these people are, where, obviously there's pay for play and corrupt government, but we're also talking about a lot of other different kinds of crimes, including pedophilia and human trafficking from the likes of the Clintons and the Podestas. And, that's where all of this Russia stuff and media hysteria stuff is coming from in the Democratic establishment. A lot of it. A lot of the people in the Democratic establishment who control our media understand that, they've got some powerful forces coming after them in the form of Donald Trump and very wealthy right-wing people who are trying to get a power foothold in our government and trying to get other power holders out, like Podesta. And we see a lot of this contention is real with the Trumps and the Podestas fighting each other, with using lies about Russia. But then we see a lot of the narrative is just bullshit to control us, with the Democrats versus Republicans in the Congress, which is nothing but a bullshit episode of Downton Abbey meant to distract us and to crush our people's movement. But what we want to do, if we're talking about strategy and tactics and destroying our enemy, which is these power structures, we want to talk about ways, before we can organize fully organize our people's revolution for full civil disobedience. We want to use all means necessary to get these powers to fight each other. And, if we can keep creating these tensions between Trump and Podesta and the executive and the Congress, that they can keep destroying each other and hemorrhaging each other's power and support, that's nothing but a good thing. And we're looking at I think the Pew Research Center just put out statistics of the unpopularity of Trump and the people in Congress. The people in Congress have a lower favorability rating right now in Congress than Trump, and Trump's is unbelievably low. But we have people like Pelosi and Schumer and McCain and the Congress. We have their approval levels of just as low. The Congress is just as low. So we want to keep on creating ways for these two factions to attack each other, but as for getting the Congress to start attacking each other, I don't really know what to do there. But we see the Congress and the CNN and New York Times, which they own, we see them completely trying to destroy our movement. And that's, what we see with Jill Stein being smeared, and even Bernie Sanders is still being smeared in certain circles for running his campaign. The only good thing that Bernie Sanders ever did was to run a people's campaign, not funded by corporations. And he took $270 million and he didn't protect the vote. Bernie Sanders should go to jail for doing that, taking $270 million of people's money, who a lot of people didn't have that much money. I donated to Bernie Sanders. I don't have that much money at all. I am working class. I don't have any money. But I gave it to Bernie Sanders, and then they stole the vote. They rigged the election. They hacked our voting system and gave it to Clinton. And Bernie Sanders, is probably going along with it. I've said it before. Bernie Sanders is, he's got an ego himself. Bernie Sanders wants Bernie Sanders Day, like Martin Luther King Day. Bernie Sanders wants the Bernard Sanders Memorial Bridge over Greenpoint, Brooklyn. That's what he wants. You know, he's got some fucking weirdo God complex himself. Well, we won't go into Bernie Sanders very much, but you know, we see our people's movement trying to be crushed at every turn with you know, smearing Jill Stein and smearing anyone who on the, I won't say on the left, but anyone who has moved away from this corporate media and they know are never coming back. You know, don't expect some olive branch from these people, from these Joy Reids or Rachel Maddows, unless they're trying to trick you into some bullshit. But no, they see us, the socialists and the communists, they see we're never going back there, so you know, they're done with us. They're gonna tear us apart at every fucking turn. They're gonna be tearing us apart, and you know, we really need to keep pitting the Trump people versus the Congress people to if we're really gonna be able to stop CNN and stop the New York Times and stop the publication of that nonsense, or you know, not stop the publication, you know, I mean, yeah, probably stop the publication, because you know, you're not going to change the Democratic Party from within. You're not going to change the New York Times. You're not going to change a fucking company. You know, that's like going to work for McDonald's and getting them to go vegan. You know, it's not going to fucking happen. It's you got a better chance of passing through the eye of the needle than reforming these things. So we're not going to reform them. We're going to discredit them, and we're going to throw them into the obscurity where they deserve to be. You know, we see that I mean, we see but how do we do it? How do we stop these constant propaganda outlets from you know, constantly tearing us, you know, having us tear into each other, having us hate each other and destroy each other? And that's, you know, there's a lot of different ways. A revolution is very multifaceted. You know, there's divestment, and there's boycotts and protests. There's so many different things, but you know, first we need to create some sort of organization. First we need to create some sort of organization, you know, like Occupy Wall Street, but not corporate funded, and you know, with the goal of getting people from all different views in on doing this, on shutting down the corporate fascist state, and you know, getting ourselves the democratic republic that is supposed to be set up for us. And then, you know, once we have a democratic republic, then we can install communism, because communism, or you know, the beginning of you know, the creating a communist system is unbelievably popular with all of the people in the United States and all of the people around the world. You know, these social values, if we actually had a democracy, we could create tomorrow, because everyone supports Medicare, and everyone supports universal education, even if they don't know it. You know, we see these studies of, you know, even the right-wing people admitting unknowingly that they are socialists and communists, but we even have people admitting that they are for the collectivization of resources, which is communism. So if we had a democracy, we could install communism in a day, in a second, in a minute, But so we that's what we need to do, But first and most importantly, we need organization. We need political strategy, and we need it outside of the Democratic Party. That's why I'm really praying for this weekend Tom Perez to win. So we have another big exodus from the Democratic Party. And I think once we have that, that complete kind of another huge walkout, we will see people calling for an organization, an independent organization to create this people's movement. I mean, we see a lot of people going into the Green Party and going to the Democratic Socialists of America and a lot of other different places, but it's not a party. Occupy Wall Street wasn't a party. It was really a movement. It was really a revolutionary movement. But I'm hopeful about it. But even if there's another walkout from the Democratic Party, don't expect any type of change from the corporate media outlets like CNN. Don't expect them to be like, ooh, okay, I guess we'll start listening. No, they're going to smear those people too. They're going to make those people feel like shit. They're going to make those people feel ridiculous. And, they're going to do what they always do and pretend they have support when they actually have zero, and pretend they still have a say in anything that's going on in the progressive movement, and you could trick a lot of people with that, that kind of media psyop. You trick a lot of people with what Joy Reid does, because they don't just misinform, they make people feel horrible. They ostracize people. They ostracize low-income people, especially Trump supporters who are lower income. These quote-unquote progressives. I don't know any type of progressive who shit on low-income people, no matter who you support. But it's bullying tactics. They're nothing but bullies and thugs. The Joy Reids. They're not progressives at all, and they're not Christians at all. But they're getting scripts from corporations, and they're good actors who know how to manipulate people's feelings and emotions, and that's terrible. It's completely unforgivable, the type of bullshit that people like Joy Reid and Rachel Maddow practice, and it's just disgusting, as well as just being creepy and fucking crazy. Anyone who knows anything about Rachel Maddow knows that she doesn't believe the crazy nonsense she believes. If the beginning of her career, she would have been shitting on the type of person that she chose to turn into, which is to say a corporate shill. But we see their bullying tactics, and expect when Tom Perez wins and there's a major fallout, expect a lot of bullying to be going on to our movement, to our people's movement. Expect a lot of smear and disinformation and lies to be spread about us, about they'll start going into us individually, media movement. Different individuals who supported Bernie Sanders and who support these people's movements expect them to start digging into more people the way they're digging into Jill Stein. Expect more and more hateful rhetoric to be coming at us, and we really need to be able to move past it. We know that all of our media sources that we have now are completely corporate owned. And I'm talking about social media, because I'm divested from corporate television, print, periodicals, whatever. But my disheartening, the manufactured disheartening comes from corporate shills on social media like Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and these things. This is where they really come after people and spread disinformation. The people like Joy Reid and the people like Rachel Maddow and the people over at CNN, they're running completely disgusting campaigns to pretend that no one wants any change, and if you want any change, you're crazy and you don't know what you're talking about and you're dangerous. And they are smear anyone who it doesn't even compute for them. It's not even their language on the corporate media when they read from their corporate scripts. It's nothing but Russia, and then Hillary won and she has all the support, even though it was a completely fraudulent election, and Donald Trump definitely won the popular vote, and our election system is completely hacked. But it's just constant bullshit about what no one believes, but we have they have the money and the power to keep doing it, so they're going to keep doing it. And so when Tom Perez becomes the chair of the DNC, don't expect anything but a massive disinformation campaign to make you feel like if you're not for the Democratic Party, you're fucking crazy. And we need to organize. We need to create this movement to stop them, or to be able to counter their nonsense, to be able to have some sort of platform that is only for our people's revolution. And before we do that, we need to organize and create we need to figure out what we want as a people's revolution, and we need a summit to create a manifesto to say what we want, which is a lot of things. One of which being getting back our democracy, but without organization, we're going to see exactly what they're doing to us now, which is saying we don't know anything, and we don't have ideas, and we don't know how to do anything, and we don't know how it works, and we don't know what we're doing, and we're dangerous, and we're crazy, and all of this. And until we can have an organization that can counter them, not to say they won't smear our organization, but we need a place for the, and I'm not talking about a party, we need a place for the Greens and the Democratic Socialists and the ex-Democrats and the Independents and the Libertarians and the anarchists and the anarcho-communists and the anarcho, all that. We need that organization to be able to organize, massive civil disobedience and to shut down the corporate state. You know, of course, but the media is a big part of this. I mean, if we could just get back the media, we stand a much better chance. You know, compared to like if we were to get single payer healthcare and get the insurance companies out of our healthcare system, you know, that doesn't automatically lead to what could happen if we had the media. You know, you look at countries in Europe and Canada and all over, you know, they've been able to, over the years, get these education programs and healthcare programs created, these social programs, but, you know, even these countries are still controlled by the corporate fascist media that brainwash people. You know, we sometimes don't think of how fucking powerful the media is, mass media. It tells people what to think. You know, so many of our problems come from people with money owning these propaganda outlets and controlling what people think. It's that easy, you know. And even despite this, there's been so much huge progressive change all over the world, especially in Europe. But, you know, one of the main things is the media, is who we can get our information to, who we can get to come and organize with us, and all of this, you know. So the media is really the big thing, and you know, an organization and a manifesto, but the media really is a very, very big part of this. But yeah, we're looking forward to Tom Perez getting in, and hopefully another 25% walkout of the Democratic establishment. And then I guess they'll start calling Cenk Uygur a Russian puppet, and maybe that will wake some of those people up, that the next 25%, to realize it ain't fucking happening. And then, you know, in some crackpot fantasy, if we were able to organize and get Bernie Sanders to join us, you know, even though I hate Bernie Sanders and he's a fascist, but, you know, if we got Bernie Sanders out of the Democratic Party after the next big exodus, you know, that's it. There's no more support there. There's maybe, no support. No one's sticking around for Pelosi. But we need Perez in to get another huge percent out. And we need organization, and we need our own propaganda outlet. Very, very soon we need it. And I'm not saying that I'm expecting Bernie Sanders to do it. I would be shocked and awed if he ever showed up. I'd accept him in, just because he would bring so many other people with him, and even people outside of the Democratic Party he would bring in. But Bernie Sanders is a snake, and I see him sticking with the Democratic Party for a lot longer. But, you know, let's see what happens. But we need to organize. We need to get together, and we need to form a solid coalition to combat the corporate fascist state. We need a people's revolution to get back our democracy. So, yeah, so that's pretty much it for this video. That's really just getting back from vacation, just trying to get a lay of the political land and try to see where we go from here. So, you know, it's very disheartening, it's very depressing, everything that's going on, but if we keep fighting, and if we actually, you know, organize ourselves in some real way now, which we've never done before, you know, operating out of the Democratic Party for all these years. Of course, we've accomplished nothing. Just because progress isn't something that manifests itself doesn't mean progress isn't something that is achievable, So, but we have to do it. So we need to organize and we need to fight this Russia narrative bullshit, and we need to do it quick before they start another war and kill more people, which they're already doing. So, fuck the Congress, fuck Trump, fuck Bernie Sanders, and viva la revolucion. Alright, I'm Sandy Frank, and I will see you in the next one.